What's up, coach? How you doing?
What's up, Jake? How are you, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate that.
Nah, thank you so much for coming on. Like for real, this is really just such an honor to have you. It's a pleasure to do this. I'm excited to talk some basketball, It's
Well,
always
likewise.
always good to get a coach on my show. I've had few coaches, including your friend Darko. I had him on
Yeah.
my show. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Intern mine, man. He's awesome.
it's great to have coaches, see the leadership. It's a good skill to develop, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, by the way, was coaching just like was that like natural for you? Was that something came up or was it?
It was it was something that came up pretty organically. So I graduated from Penn State in 2011. Obviously wanted to continue playing. So I went overseas for a couple years, played, had some unfortunate injuries and had to transition to what was next. Still love the game, still wanted to compete, still wanted to be a part of it in some capacity. So um I really enjoy teaching and learning, so it just felt like a natural transition for me.
Yeah, when you got to deal with what comes for you, you got to be able to figure it out. I like that. I
Absolutely.
love that. Okay, so before we talk about your 905, I want to talk to you about the NBA trade deadline for a second because there were some big moves that just happened. AD went to the Warriors, Harden went to the Cavs, Porzingis went to the Warriors. Sorry, did I say AD? I meant AD went to the Wizards.
Yep.
But the Raptors didn't make any like blockbuster moves, and that really surprised me. Did that surprise you? Were you surprised by this? Did you expect this?
It come trade deadline is you always tend to expect the unexpected. So, um, expectations can kind of come and go. But what I do love is that we kept the core of our group. Um, we got a really special group. We got a very connected, really hard playing group. So it's always cool to see when that level of connectivity and synergy is maintained. Obviously, during this time of year, everybody's
Fair.
got their X going and all their apps and trying to figure out who's doing what and who's being moved. But I think you expect the unexpected. But I think at the end of the day, I really like our group, and clearly, Bobby and Darko really are pleased with our group as well. Made a couple new additions, but I think for the most part, they trust our unit.
So you were happy with this, with the decisions.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Stick with what you got. Okay, so getting to your 905. You guys have been phenomenal this year. Perfect in the month of December with a 12-0 record. Lead the G League in net rating and defensive rating, and also top three in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, assists per game. This is just incredible statistics, incredible, and it all comes from the coaching, of course, and that all resulted in a well-deserved Coach of the Month award. Just how much did that award mean to you, and did it feel good to get that?
It does. I think whenever you get recognized for your achievements, it's a good feeling, and I think it's a great reflection on our entire coaching staff, all of our players that have bought into our identity on both ends. So individual accolades, they feel great, but I think the bigger deal is how it reflects on our entire organization.
See,
Our
that's what I love
players, our
about you.
coaches, athletic training staff. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the winning,
I
and
love that.
so I really appreciate our entire staff because they commit daily, and I think that's the wins and those types of awards are byproduct of it.
Do you guys try and turn those individual awards into group awards, like saying, "Look how good we're doing as a group"?
Absolutely. None of that happens without the group. So it'd be hard to try to negate how they've impacted something like that. So I always make individual awards, team awards, especially if the individual accolade is mine.
I love that. I love that. This is what like that's one of the things I love so much about you and your coaching style. Another thing is like the energy and the passion you bring. I actually saw a sick clip of you coming to practice in construction gear. You asked them if they're coming to
Yeah.
work or going to work. Like I love that. Was that your idea or was that just something that popped in your head or was it something you discussed with a couple coaches and stuff?
Well, I always try to have themes for our video sessions, and sometimes they include props. Sometimes they include videos. Sometimes they include more of a dialogue between coaches and players. And so the theme, during that day is, the road to success is always under construction. And meaning that there's going to be bumps, there's going to be, adversity. But you got to learn from it. And prior to yesterday's win, we had dropped a few in a row, and I said, look, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's not always the wins and the statistics that you pointed out. Like some games, like you're going to struggle. Um, and for me, it was like this is a part of our journey, and our road to success will always be under construction. And so it was kind of funny. I had like the system, the audio system. It had like jackhammers in the background and like just like construction sounds, and it was funny. It was a good moment for the guys. They rally around making fun of me.
I
I
love
think
it.
when you can connect the group in some new kind of creative or like fresh ways, it snatched their attention right away prior to the film. So they got the message loud and clear based on our performance yesterday. So
Really a great idea. Like I love the message, I play hockey here in Toronto, and
yeah.
we were cooking. Like last year we had like a 16 game win streak. We're
Wow.
back-to-back champions, but like this was our second year, and we were just doing so well. And then we took a loss, and like it was a bad loss, and it was a big bump in the road, and we were trying to get back on tap, and our coach had to like come and settle it down. That's
On So one of our players, Tyson Degenhart, Boise State guy, his head coach used to always say, don't turn um, a molehill to a mountain, right?
yeah,
No, they're molehills for a reason, right? You run them over, you move past them, and you look to grow and be better because of it. But let's not turn it into a mountain. Let's work on the things we got to improve on, and then let's get back to it.
it's a great saying. I like that. Okay, so yeah, your job, it's just like it's super important. You've been discussing it a lot about how you've been teaching these guys to get over like that's a perfect example, like that saying, like molehill to mountain, don't turn into that, how to get over that. And you're like very big into the developing of the Raptors draft picks, getting them NBA ready. But in your eyes, what does like a successful season look for a 905 player?
Just continued growth and development and in multiple areas. So growth on the court, both offensively and defensively. Growth in terms of professional maturity, being able to develop some of the professional habits that's needed to allow players to thrive at the next level. I think in addition to your physical gifts and skills on the court, there are a lot of habits that need to um, be developed in order for you to really sustain and have longevity for your NBA career. So, in addition to a lot of the on court development that takes place, there's a lot of habit building that goes on as well. So, for me, if a player is obviously meeting his developmental goals, numbers wise, but then also what's his professional maturity like? Or is he developing those habits that are going to sustain him despite what he can do on the court?
What would you value more, like the individual players on the team becoming more NBA ready, or the team's success as a whole in winning?
I think they go hand in hand. I think when you have a collection of players that are committed to their development, it only can help the whole, right? So each individual player, we walk in with a developmental plan, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally. And if we can check all those boxes individually, then I think that bodes well for the overall success of our team.
Right, right. I like that. One of the players who actually have been already asked to step up and play in the NBA has been Elijah Martin. And I love his swagger, love his confidence. He's so tough, athletic. He's really, really incredible. Like, what have you seen from Elijah, and what do you think his ceiling is?
His um his ceiling is, I think, just through the roof. Um, he can really impact the game in ways that don't show up on the score sheet or on the stat sheet. His level of intensity, his compete level, he's a guy that can uplift a group just based on how hard he competes, right? Take away how effective he is with playing off the 2 feet and touching the paint, and how his 3-point shooting has grown tremendously over the summer, or how he can finish through contact. Like take all those things away, the way he impacts games right now, and we saw it in his limited minutes with the Raptors, is how hard he plays and his level of compete. Right, his compete level is just through the roof. So, in terms of his ceiling, that remains to be seen. But what we have seen is continued growth and development on both sides of the ball.
Is there like a player he reminds you of that you've seen in the development process before?
Each player is different. They have various types of skill sets and mentality. So he's I don't know if I've seen or coached anybody quite like Elijah yet.
Yeah.
To be a rookie and to really be that disciplined with his work and have that level of compete level, and not only at the G League level, but see it translate to the NBA level. That takes a lot of heart, a lot of discipline and a lot of the things that we look for in terms of intangibles of players.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. By the way, we've been talking about Elijah for a minute. Like, we got to shout out AJ Lawson for a minute. That dude's a bucket. I watched him
Granted,
play in the summer league in Vegas, and I was so impressed. What do you see in AJ?
tremendous growth. We know he can put the ball in the hole. He can really touch the paint. He's the absolute greyhound in transition. You can't catch him. Um, he can really shoot the ball. But what I'm most proud of with AJ is how he's defended. He's always possessed the qualities of an elite defender. But he's really owned it this season and this summer. So just really proud of the way that he's attacked the ball defensively. I mean, we talk about being cobras on the ball, right? Very disciplined, but when we strike, we hit hard. And he's been that for us all season and with the Raps and his minutes there. So we know he can put the ball in the hole. We know what he can do offensively, but the way he's attacked his development defensively has been really fun to watch.
Yeah, it has been fun to watch. Speaking about defensive development from a young players, I want to ask you about Raptors rookie Colin Murray Boyles, and I've been watching him a bit, and Raptors got a baller. He's not the flashiest scorer, so people don't pay so much attention to him, but his defense, his effort, his hustle, his rebounding, his strength at such a young age, like it's really so impressive. Have you had the chance to like coach CMB at all, and how impressed are you with him so far?
Oh, for sure. Obviously we were with him all summer. We
Yeah.
were with him all summer. We were able to really, watch his development over not only the course of the summer, but through training camp and in the early parts of the season. And for me, I noticed, right away, just like everyone else did in our organization during his draft workout. I mean, just a absolute monster. Loves physicality. Level of compete is just through the roof. Physicality, just kind of walking in with that NBA mentality physically. A lot of players walk in with an NBA build, but I think that NBA mentality to go alongside that frame is what a lot of young players, rookies especially, struggle with. And he really walked into that, embracing it. And I think you see it now. Coach Darko is putting them on, some of the most challenging matchups. If Scotty's a primary defender, CMB is a secondary defender. So it's really cool kind of watching such a young player develop in that area and really own it.
Yeah, I've watched him guard guards before, centers, forwards, everything. He does it all. It's ridiculous. It's legit ridiculous. But speaking of Scotty, you mentioned Scotty before. I was gonna say how you were an assistant, your assistant with Darko last year, and you've been around the team a lot. The season Scotty's putting together is insane. He looks so strong, just dominant on both sides of the ball. I honestly just wish he would be like a little bit more aggressive and like look to score more, to be honest. But I know you're not the GM, but in your eyes, would Scotty Barnes be untouchable?
I mean, clearly, he's the heart and soul of our team, and I think in terms of him wanting or people expressing that they would like for him to be more aggressive. I think who he is perfect for who we are. He's dominant on both ends. He doesn't force actions. He takes opportunities as they come. Defensively, there's nobody like him in the league. He can guard 1 through 5. He can switch. He can play in coverage. He communicates at an extremely high level. But then offensively, just he's a matchup nightmare. On the perimeter and the post and transition, his shooting has improved. So I think who he is just perfect for who we are, and I think his contributions to our team. You can't be more proud of kind of how he's led.
Yeah, he's a leader, leads with his style, like his play style and personality too. I love it. Okay, last question, Coach. You spent some time in Detroit, and you're coaching some of their young players when they were full rebuild mode. And I even
Mhm.
saw Jalen Duran. He credited you for helping him in transition to the NBA. And just how proud are you to see the success that the Pistons are having now? Because they're absolutely hooping, making a deep playoff run.
He's doing an incredible job. I love those guys. I keep contact with the dog pound, Stu and JB, and I love the way they play, how they compete. And I think the work that he's putting in is unmatched. As a young player, I saw it very early on. I knew it, he knew it, and I think now the world is being able to see, um, what he is and who he can become. He's dominant on both ends. He's a worker and extremely coachable. I think that's the key. You got immense talent, strength, athleticism, but he always allows himself to be coached, and that's special for such a young player. So really, really excited for his individual success and also their success.
Yeah, they've been incredible. I love watching them. Love watching them. Cade too. They're great. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Jake's Takes. I had so much fun. Did you enjoy? Of
Likewise, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity and really enjoyed what you're doing. Keep growing the game.
course. Thank you so much, Coach.